In this video we're gonna see how we can create this truss structure that we see in the pictures. So we have these structures, these truss structures on the roof supporting this roof that we just drew. So let's go ahead and see how we can draw the truss. So in order to draw the truss, I'm going to use the components. I'm going to use model in place. We looked at model in place previously to draw things like counters, but in this case we're going to draw a truss. I'm going to go with model in place, and I'm going to scroll down, go to structural framing here. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to say truss, and I'm going to create an extrusion. And here the extrusion start is going to be 0 and the extrusion end is going to be 6 inches, because the thickness of the truss, it looks like around 6 inches, but as most things about this roof structure, we don't know much. For the most part, it's going to be guesswork. The curvature, the height of it, the position of it, everything's for the most part is guesswork, because we don't have the drawings for the truss or any of these roof elements. So I'm gonna go by these photographs and try to create the truss structure. So it's not going to be accurate at all. It's just going to be a visual element that we use for our purpose. So it's going to be about 6 inches. So the extrusion start is 0, extrusion end is going to be 6 inches, and I'm going to use my pick lines tool to start drawing the truss. I'm going to trace these lines, use these lines as my starting point to draw the truss. So using the pick lines tool, I can just draw the boundary, and there needs to be a thickness for this. So let's connect these first. I'm going to connect these using the trim tool, trim extend. Oops. Right, everything's. Then I need to use the pick lines tool again to create the thickness here. I'm going to use an offset of 6 inches. Let's pop to this side. There you go. Alright. And the same here as well. There you go. And then trim these off. And the next thing that I want to do is the vertical post and the diagonal post. There are vertical posts like this and diagonal posts. So I'm going to use the glass curtain walls mullions as my measurement, or the position of the vertical support. So I'm going to use the lines tool, and I'm going to use one. I'm going to give an offset of 6 inches here, and I'm going to start drawing using this. So as you can see, when I start drawing, it's going to give me an offset line like so, and I'm going to do that first, and then let's draw the thickness. So oops, delete that, was a mistake. Offset 6 inches again, and the same thing here, same thing here, same thing here. It's going to be a lot of work drawing these, and I'm gonna stop here, and I'm gonna finish or show you how to do the rest, and then come back and show you the completed truss. So the next thing is I need to give it this, I need to draw this line. So I'm gonna go back to my line tool, remove the offset, make it 0, and just draw the other line. That way I have these 2 lines. So I'm going to stop there with the 2 lines, and I'm going to finish these off later. but the next thing that I want to do is I want to create the diagonal here. So the same thing, I'm going to select my line tool, give it an offset of 6 inches, and I'm going to draw a diagonal like so. And I'm going to draw a couple of these using these 2 points. Oops, I think I messed up there. I think I messed up here. So line 6 inches and there. So those are the 3 lines, and then I'm gonna go back and make this 0, and I'm gonna finish those off. So there we are, and I can go ahead and start trimming these. So to trim, there are a couple of tools that we can use. We can use trim extend single element. So I can, oops, trim extend, keep that. And we can also use trim extend multiple elements. So I'm gonna select that, keep that, gonna keep that, keep that. That didn't work out. Let's see, oh, there we go. Same thing here on the other side as well. I can start trimming things off. The next thing that I want to do is let's trim these off as well. Probably need to go and do one by one, and I need a line here just to finish this off. Alright, so that's how the rest of the truss is gonna be as well, and I need to make these, I need to remove these sections as well. Now to do that, I'm going to use this tool which is the split element tool, and I can split quite easily like that. Okay, do splits first, and then I can go ahead and then delete those segments. I'm gonna quickly make those splits. Going to show you where you so if you zoom in, you see this line, it's showing us where we would need to split. So once it's split, you can go ahead and select that section and delete it. Same thing here, splits properly down, and here as well, and here and here. So like that we can complete the rest of the truss. So now, as you can see, I've completed the truss. I've edited these areas so that it's one enclosed shape, so all of these areas are completely cleaned up. So once I'm done, I can finish by clicking the green checkbox, and I should have the truss completed, and you should see the truss like so. And I'm gonna say finish model just to see how it's gonna look like. I'm gonna go into my 3D view. So that's our truss, and we can move this inside. So in order to do that, I'm gonna go into my level 4, and in my level 4 plan I can't really see things here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the properties panel and go to the view range here where it says view range, and say edit, and here the cut plane is at 7 feet and 6 inches. So this flow is cut at that level, but we know that at the very edge it's about 2 feet here, I think. So I'm gonna use 2 feet as my cut plane and say OK, and still I don't think that's gonna be enough, so I'm gonna go back and say 1 foot, and let's see what happens. And now I can see the entire glass wall, and the only issue is that I can't see my trusses. So let's go ahead, go back to the south elevation. Now this truss, we should be able to see that. Here it is. So this is my truss, and if I try to go into my level 4 and try to move it, you can use the move tool and try to move it. We can't. It doesn't allow you to do that. So I'm gonna undo that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say edit in place, and now I'm able to move it by using the move tool. I should be able to move it. Oh. Oops. Let's Control X and Control V, and now I'm able to move my truss, and I can just use my, what I did was I cut and pasted it in edit mode, and that allowed me to move my truss. So I can use my arrow keys to move it. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to copy and paste it, so I have another truss here. Now, we don't know the exact gap between these two trusses, but we're gonna just basically eyeball it because we don't know the structural details. And I'm gonna push this in a little bit, and we can just go ahead and select both of these, Control C and Control V to paste it, and basically eyeball these, which is not ideal, as you know, but this is mostly for rendering purposes. We are creating our trusses here, so I think I might want to move those. There you go. I think that's perfect. So it ends here, and there's one here, and if we wanted to, we can even remove. So between, it's about 9 feet, and 10 feet is fine. So I think if we take a look at the pictures, it should be something similar to that. So once we're done placing it, I'm going to finish model, and if I go into my 3D view, I should see all my trusses. Now that seems a little bit too crowded. Maybe I can remove one truss in the middle. So let's go ahead here and remove. I'm going to go edit in place again, and then remove trusses in the middle because it seems a little bit too crowded. So this one I'm gonna move, and maybe just move these. Alright, that seems reasonable. I'll finish it off, and then if I go into my 3D view now, that seems a little bit reasonable, better than what we had previously. So that's how you create the trusses and copy the trusses inside. If you go into your plan level, I'm gonna go into level 1, and I'm gonna create a camera view here, and let's do an landscape. And the model is getting a little bit heavy, that's why landscape is taking its time. Also I'm recording, so that's probably why. There you go, and let's take a look at the roof structure. There we are. Those look pretty good. So those are our trusses.